Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in depth in a great viewer question, and that is really expanding your structure. And so I think what they are saying is that before their relationship, it didn't have any structure, things just weren't defined, and so things just sort of fell apart even though there was no structure to begin with. And so how do you go about like that rebuilding process if you're sort of needing to reinvent yourself or rebuild your life? And it is important. I really do feel that structure or system is important to flow. You know, to some degree, structure and system is important to flow because when you talk about universal law of energy or just relationship dynamics or health dynamics, flow is important, and meaning ease, meaning it's unobstructed. There's not an inertia, there's not an obstacle in front of it, that inhibits it or creates a block or a barrier. And people become numbed out. They become desensitized, and they just sort of get used to that feeling or perspective. And it's basically my honest feeling that if the course of your emotional life is congruent with your health, so if you are blocked, in other words, you've been shut down by somebody, you've been, they wanted to steal the show, they wanted to have all eyes on them, the people who want to be, the alpha, and they're serious about this. It's not just someone who wants to grow. We're talking about someone who needs to be in this, they have a need to be the alpha. They need all the attention. They need to, if they admire something about you, they're going to do it, but even bigger. It's these people who just sort of steal the show. And these can be, but you can feel this sort of competition in your relationship with your, significant other. And that competition close to home will really break you down and wear you down. But to get back to the viewer's question, and kind of like to what degree is structure important for flow? Because, having a structure means that you're giving a place for flow to be. So structure, when we talk about healing on, function is form is also another one. It's a science, maxim or whatever, what have you. But, you need to have some degree of structure in order to have flow in your life. In other words, you have to have certain things where you show up, where you help to move and get momentum. If you don't have momentum, then you're going to feel stuck or blocked. So for a lot of people, I think it's also understanding the cause that creates the effect of the block. So when people really feel blocked or stuck, it's like, I think a psychologist once described it as seeing a beautiful ocean. It was a hot summer day, and you see this ocean, and you all you want to do is go and dive in, but you just can't. So that's how they described a block. I thought that was unusual. And to some degree, I think it's important, and the goal of the channel is to help to restore that flow back to you. A block is an energetic block, meaning it was put there like a buoy in that ocean, like a pillar that was driven into the sand 20 feet down and 30 feet up, or what have you, to carve out an area. The block is when someone basically needs to shut you down because it irritates them, it aggravates them, it detracts from them, or they don't have the skill to deal with. They are not able to manage. They are not able to manage emotion. They're not able to maybe manage certain types of communication. They're on a specific level, and they don't have a capacity to have a mesh or a merging. So, you get this sort of enmeshment issue and then violation issue. And so to repair from that, you do need to have a structure, though. A structure meaning, okay, and once again, just getting back to the black. So when someone had to sort of put you down, put you in your place, use, rule with a tight fist, or rule with a heavy fist or heavy hand, and so you were basically shut down, and then there wasn't any other options. It wasn't a learning opportunity, which it's supposed to be, but once again, whatever stage of the relationship is, if it's like, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, and then to the point where the other person is just mush, they're not able to have any input, any word, they're just trampled over emotionally. It's just like, I might as well just be invisible. When you get to that level of malignancy or sort of toxicity in the relationship, it's just going to keep elevating and escalating until you tone it down, until you, as I say, step out of the boxing ring. No matter how invested you are, how built this up, no matter how many stories this aggravation has gotten, maybe yours is a one, a 2 flat, a 3 flat, maybe you've got, a 300 unit, condo building that you have created of a block in this relationship that you experience, where you're not able to move forward. It's because people, say, why is there a block there? It's because you were shut down at those pivotal moments. You were not allowed at those sort of crucial, pivotal moments where it's like, hey, now is your time to focus on this. And then that you're important and that you're heard and seen, and you have that validation. And it's an expression. It's the creator. It's what you have going on within you trying to come out. And if you can't be expressive and be who you are and interact and be able to laugh or be serious or balance, if they're always trying to shut you down because they have to be bigger than, then you get an energetic block, because you cannot become, you cannot be, you cannot I am, you cannot know, all these different things, you're not, so you just, you shut it down. Like you literally put a block, like it's Freud might have called it a repression, where you just sort of stop, you shut down. And it's not, you're shutting down energy. So in other words, like, like a vault that goes through and it just dead ends, you're dead ending in energy. So it's not cycling within you, if we think about it energetically. So there is that energetic block. And so you have to create structure to move through that block. And so to understand, once again, the cause that creates the effect of this feeling of like, I don't know, I don't know, or, I just, people just, they have trouble thinking after they've been shut down, because they're used to sort of being dumbed down or talked down to or treated dumb. And it's kind of like, it's like the fishbowl effect. You put the goldfish in a tiny bowl, it's only going to become that big. You put the goldfish in the big bowl, and then it grows larger. It's kind of like that's how your life experiences, depending on oftentimes what's in your environment, particularly those individuals as influencers. So that can have a lot of effect on your journey. And so then, but having structure to get that flow back, I think is very important. And that's, a lot of what we talk about here on the channel is getting some structure through it. So you're not just, feeling that you're just throwing yourself and then hoping that somehow you'll catch yourself from these waves of, cycling thoughts, or, just the sort of recurring sort of intrusive thoughts, just sort of recurring, memories that just are always there, just always bugging you. There's something about it you're trying to work through, unwrestle, untangle, get settled, and the thing is, getting that settled has to have closure within yourself. I mean, and you have the ability and power to do that, but you have to say, I have permission, I have the right, I have the responsibility. I think is the more important thing is I have the responsibility for that. And once you kind of are in that space, you're, thumbs up, you're good to go. You're right on target. So, the structure though, to get through it, you have, rather than it just being this, amalgam of hoping something will work, the time will heal it. if you just eat too much, sleep too much, don't sleep, get restless, all these sort of, willful attempts oftentimes will lead to just more madness, despair, and it'll prolong suffering. It just, so you don't want to just relish, I would think, you don't want to just relish in suffering, because then you're getting the victim mentality, and then it's paying off like, woe is me, this happened to me, and you're having what they call the pity party for yourself. And yeah, you do to some degree have legitimate suffering, but not to make that like your whole life mission, your whole life statement, your whole I am or identity, because when you adopt that, literally you take it on for yourself, that victim mentality, then basically you're rewounding you're recycling that wound again, you're replaying it like your top 10 hits. I am wounded. You're replaying it like you're just putting it on repeat, and it keeps that hurt there in place. So that's why you might feel that block too, because it's played so many times. Remember when you're a teenager in that one song? Remember, back in my day, you would, want to tape it if you had like a big tape deck. Yeah, we had like a radio, and then you'd have to push record as soon as it came on the radio if you wanted to catch it back in the day. Yes, good times for my crowd who remembers those days. But anyway, I digress. So the structure is so important, so that you are realigning, you're rerouting, you're using neuroplasticity. Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Lipton, looking at epigenetics, your ability to sort of reroute and recondition and reprogram. It's malleable. It's it's plasticity. I mean, it has the ability to move and be reshaped and changed. So it's like, it's like having, the right connections. It's like having nutrients for your mind when you really sit and work through these ponders that have caused the block. So you can remove that sort of heavy, dark energy, whether you envision it as a big square, whether you envision it as, a circle, a blob, a garbage can, a wall. It's a felt, and you do kind of have an image of it in your mind. People do have a visible image. So you have to realize that is an energetic block. It's been put there to say, no go. But you have to liberate yourself. It's your responsibility, and it's your right, and it's to be uncomfortable so you can release the tension and just create some breathing room and allow flow, just like air, just like light coming in. And so the energetic block is to say, I am, and to be there and add, send warmth into that space, allow it just to break free, in whatever, whatever it is, however it feels to you, just allow it to go, and, allow yourself to not have to live in that, and to know that you're not defined by that, to sort of kind of, take a little bit of a step aside and allow it to be in sort of kind of a classic or nostalgic way. Just sort of get it a little bit compartmentalized, I think, is important for memory rebuilding and having some structure. But moving forward, to have an actual structure to helping you break free from that and not living in that space is important, because it gets one foot going in front of the other without having to, cognitively stop yourself. Your fear, it won't work. Why are you doing this? This is different. This is stupid. You're just talking yourself out of it. That's the negative voice, the unbeliever that is living in you, So if that unbeliever is living in you, you got to go, whoa, do I want this non-believer living in me? And you have to kind of confront that part of yourself. And no matter how old you are, I mean, you might be in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you might be in your 20s, where you're having to confront this and it feels like it's going to win and it's going to render you, So it's not that it's going to win, it's to understand that you need to understand how to look at it. In other words, put some glasses on, put some perspective, get some language to understand the cause of the feeling, and the situation, and then realize that you have a body mind connection to that event. So your body's holding onto it as a definitive factor, as sort of part of you. And so when you look at the fabric of you, you have to kind of look at those threads and weave it into a way that is pleasant and comfortable and comforting for you. And so it's not the whole tapestry of who you are. It's not the full fabric of who you are. It might be one of the gold strings that is very prominent in the tapestry and design of your soul and who you are. It might be golden light. That's how I can envision, a really thick gold cord, that sheds light, but it from pain into light, strangeness, that it might feel colorful to let yours go. So yours might be like petals, or you might have rocks flinging or shoots of lightning, but it's releasing that. It's realizing that your mind is complex, and honoring and respecting and having reverence for that, and using how to tap into some of the components and principles of that mind to assist you like your own medicine. So to kind of grow your own healing, to create your own, to be interactive with your own healing, to realize that you have the tools and you can work them in this community here. And we talk about the tools. We talk about the the recovery pages, the recovery date, the recovery gift, the astromations, the aspiration box, and the credibility jar. What else did we recently do? Oh, we did the recovery date box. So that it's like a mix-up to take you to your recovery dates to the next level, because this is an ongoing situation. This is this is an upgrade for you. This is a spiritual, psychological, physical upgrade. It's a commitment. It's something you ingrain in part of you. And so when you get perspective, when you use these tools, you learn about the cause that creates the effect in the relationship, which we talk a lot about. We go in depth to understand this and to allow it to be. It is just what it is. And once you kind of get back and re-reflect and are able then to do it without judgment. So without judging the parties involved. I'm not judging this person. I'm not judging this person. I'm not judging myself. I'm not judging anything. There is divine order in this meeting or this situation or that experience. There is divine order in that, and so it is. So once you can revisit it enough and enough and enough and enough, they and understand them as a human, even though some of them have been very cruel, cold, inhumane, but realize they're in that body there. So that's that body thing that they are, which is fine. And they did with it, which is them, how they look. It's like a tree that's in the forest. Look at that tree. It's so different from that one. That's how you have to kind of look at it, with that sort of observational neutrality, with respect and reverence, and still be personal for you. And this, when you're talking about a real perpetrator and abuser, you don't want to put, have a personal connection to that. You just want to see it out there. So get that observational sort of stepping back, owning over here, holding that space, and then realizing that is who it is. That's that kind of tree, bush, shrub, whatever it is. It is what it is, but it doesn't mean it has to have like a vine-like toxicity that attacks your tree, your life force that emanates and, spreads out and shoots out all around you. It's to understand once you get that perspective, and then a lot of this other structure then helps things flow, and then you have flow back in your life. So I definitely believe you have to, you can go to a psychologist, you can go to a therapist, you can, talking is a very important tool. So that's part of the structure, I think, in sort of, if you have an energetic block, I do think talking and being able to be with someone who is, I also believe, like in the book that I'm working on, it's important to have a mentor, identify a mentor, an active mentor. We're covering like a lot of ground. You guys are probably like, what the? So, but if you want to, break it, ask me in the comments to break it down or what have you. But in the we were saying on the recovery date and the recovery gift, you have these sort of structured and ongoing, and it builds a way, it creates a path. Neuroplasticity, once again, you're creating a new pattern in a new wavelength, in a new perspective. So rather than being super agitated or super down, you're just right in that comfortable middle. And your highs are moderated, and your lows are moderated, and you're able to work through. But you do have to have structure to remove that block, and it will be removed, and then you'll begin to feel whole. And it's a growing perspective, it's a growing of consciousness and awareness. So it's really an education that I hope to provide as a culmination from many sources, that it's truly very effective and important and needed, because not everybody really understands how to kind of rebuild after this sort of storm in a relationship, or if you've had something real, it's been significant, it's been severe, it's been life altering, monumental, big granite rock, boom, you've got something landed in your lap, you've got that to deal with and manage. So I hope, that these videos do help, and, we'll talk more about the tools, but I'm definitely a believer. So if you do need more flow, that means you need more structure, and you need more enforcement, and you need your appointment book, and you need to plug in several tools to get these moving, so you cover your bases and you're not living in the head saying, I can't do it, I'm going, so really important stuff that we can help you with adjustments. So it's your body, peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and please donate for more great tools, videos, discussions, and support. Peace out. Have a beautiful day.